Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri. Realm of Ash is the sequel and companion and finale to Empire of Sand, a book I absolutely adored last year. The first book, Empire of Sand, follows a girl named Mare who leaves a life of privilege but also not. She's sheltered but also not, and she has a forbidden magic that causes everyone to sort of discriminate against her. At one point in time, she uses this magic and draws the ire and attention of a powerful being who basically kidnaps her and forces her to do his bidding, and she basically just has to try to survive. The sequel and companion, Realm of Ash, picks up 10 years later, and it follows Mare's sister, Arwa, and basically the ramifications of Mare's actions in the first book directly impact Arwa here. This is its own standalone story, but I love the way that this was tied together. I love the way that the two books stand on their own, but together they also are wonderful. Trigger warnings for this book include self-harm for like magic purposes, bodily harm / abuse, genocide, loss of a spouse, gore, murder, and death, and loss of a parent. I was excited and a little bit nervous going into this story because of how much I loved Empire of Sand. I also forgot to mention I have a review for that if you're interested, and I also featured it in my best books of 2020. Like, I absolutely love that book. So I was nervous to go into a sequel that is kind of unrelated and doesn't have the characters from the first book, but I was very pleasantly surprised. Tasha Suri is cementing herself as a favorite author. One of the things I appreciated very much about this story is the world building and how this book kind of fills in the gaps of knowledge that we missed from the first one. This is definitely a lot more politically focused. We are at a certain point we're in the castle and our main character is having to deal with an emperor and like his like terrible children, and she has to navigate dangerous political life, and so you start to fill in the gaps of knowledge where the first book definitely built a lot more of the magic and the sort of otherworldly nature. This one fills in the gaps and then also has another sort of magic that I wasn't expecting at all. That was also a great surprise. I loved the new additional magic that our main character kind of toes the line and deals with. It's a sort of combination of like dream and death magic, and I loved that the magic itself had ramifications for what was going on in the real world and ramifications to our main character, and how the magic specifically displays Tasha Suri's themes. Gorgeous, wonderful. There's great commentary in this book throughout, and the world building is one of the ways that Tasha Suri does it, which I just like love. I'm so in love with our main character, Arwa. She immediately like resonated with me and is someone that is just a phenomenal character. Her arc, her growth, fantastic. I love the fact that she's just so angry and so mad. She is dealt a difficult position in life where she has to basically be like the good sister, the upstanding one. She has to do well in society because basically her whole family's hopes rest on that, and I just love how she like chafes against the constraints that her society gives her, and now eventually she starts to turn away from societal conventions, and that shit I loved. And she's just so angry and mad, and I just love her. I also really loved our love interest. He is a great balance and pair to Arwa. He is a scholar and very measured, but also very passionate. I loved the push and pull, the back and forth, and how they kind of don't get off on the right foot, but then they also kind of figure out that they are similar in some ways, and how like they come together. That stuff was great. Like A+, love it. They complement one another so well. Their dynamic and love and romance was truly a joy to watch. I could have used a little bit more, but that's just me, and I don't say that often about romances and adult fantasy, but I could have used more. But that's me being picky. In the first book, it's a very standalone story with Mare and Amun, and like all the side characters don't really matter, but I like how the side characters in here are their own people, well developed and fleshed out, and have their own motivations, and trying to determine the motivations of the side characters in here was an extra added twist and added bit to here that I think this book like really stands out for. Over the course of the story, the plot slowly and very steadily and consistently builds, and I don't say that as a bad thing. I love the way the like upward trajectory the plot takes like the whole time. I equally love the court elements and having to navigate the deadly court, and then when it diverts from that, it has kind of the best of both worlds. I was super appreciative of the fact that a large majority of the story follows Arwa kind of dismantling what she thought she has to do and learning about her cultures in which she was supposed to denounce as a child and not acknowledge, and rediscovering her culture and her peoples. And I think that was a great added element to this story and what makes this story stand so well. Nothing is just like thrown in there to get stuff moving along. The characters are the deciding and motivating factor, and that's like my favorite thing in stories. I love a character-driven story, which this definitely is. I really like this take on a high fantasy story in which there is a focus on like research and academics to solve their problem. It's not like, oh, we're all going to go to war. It diverts from that, and I thought that was really cool. And as a finale, I think this stands very well. It's great as a standalone story. I do like how this wraps up and ends, but if Tasha Suri ever wanted to write a book number 3 in here and have things come together and blend, I wouldn't be opposed, and I think there is room for that story. But as it stands, this is a satisfying finale, and I was in tears at the end. I love Tasha Suri's writing so much. I think her prose is beautiful and shines in every aspect of the story. Thematically speaking, she's like a genius, and I love everything that she has to say. I think her descriptions are lovely. She captures her world so beautifully, and I could picture things so vividly, and certain descriptions had me stop and like take note of how beautiful I found them to be. The more and more I've been discussing this story, the more and more I've like fallen in love with it and Tasha Suri as an author. I love everything she has to say and her take on a high fantasy tale, because it is different, and I can't wait to see more from her and more books like hers. And the more I've discussed this and just done this review, it has solidified this to be a 5-star read for me. I initially gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars because I have this weird thing, especially early in the year, where I'm like, I don't know if I can give this a full 5 yet. It's a bit early. I think I love Empire of Sand a little bit more, but this is fantastic and phenomenal on its own. And I cannot wait to read The Jasmine Throne, which comes out in June. Holy shit, can't wait. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read and loved Realm of Ash. I would love to discuss it in the comments. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.